Hello and welcome. Microsoft Fabric. On everybody's tongues, on everyone's mind, so very popular right now. And in today's video, we're just going to take a glimpse at one aspect of Fabric, and that's going to be data factory pipelines. We're not just going to look at a basic look at pipelines, we're going to do a little bit around the realm of parameterization. So the idea is to try to make a pipeline a bit more dynamic. The example we're going to look at is one simple pipeline, moving data from one table to a lakehouse itself. Well, instead of just moving one table, can we make that one pipeline move multiple tables? Of course, that's what we're going to showcase in today's video. We're going to look at making these pipelines just a bit more dynamic. My name is Manuel Quintana, and I'm excited to join you on this journey with Fabric pipelines. All right, so here we are inside a browser of choice, just inside of a workspace that's got, as you can see, one pipeline and a lakehouse. So if you do want to kind of follow along with this, all you need to do is create a lakehouse. There's literally nothing in there. It's blank, it's empty. It's going to be the destination for this example. And when I hop into the child pipeline itself, you're going to see very straightforward, nothing crazy here. We're using it as the data movement tool that it is. It's simply a copy activity, which you could have just done using a wizard. And we can see here that it's pointing to an Azure SQL database, a table here that's called dim customer. And the destination is simply writing and creating a new table inside of the lakehouse called dim customer. So we're going to change this, right? We're going to parameterize this so that we are effectively going to receive a list of tables, and we're going to write those into our Fabric lakehouse. Now, just in case, of course, we are using an Azure SQL database in this example, but you could use this for other sources. This design, this pattern that we're looking at, is the main takeaway here, that you can implement this pattern for other sources, right? And even what we're going to do, you can extend this even further. And I'll point out those areas of extension when we build the parent pipeline. So what we need to do is we need to kind of set this child up to receive dynamic data. So we need to create a parameter. So I'm going to go ahead and just click into the canvas, which gives us our pipeline parameters area, which I'm simply going to call this one table name. Very basic, very straightforward. Data type is string. I'm not going to put any default value. You can put more, you can use quite a variety of parameters in here if you so choose, but we're just going to use one for this example. So now that we have a parameter, now we need to actually leverage this parameter. So what I'll do is I'll go back into the copy activity, and for the source, we're simply going to remove any sort of static references. So for the source, this is going to be the name of our actual table. So to do this, since it's technically going to be, in our case, I think we're going to do 4 tables. I can't just point to something, but I can leave the schema. In this case, the schema is actually the same across all the tables. So that's why I have not parameterized that. But just be aware, we very well could simply parameterize that option. So I could have had a schema parameter and done what I'm about to do with the table name. Because the schema is the same, I'm okay. But just take that into consideration. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add dynamic contents and simply choose table name. Just click it once, hit OK. We can see that instead of pointing to dim customer, this is saying, hey, we got a pipeline, and that's going to send me the value in question. Step 1. Now the second one might be a little bit sneaky. If you already have a pipeline that you've created and worked with, something that occurs when you go through this process is it does mapping. So in this case, if we look over, it usually will have a mapping in here for schemas. So if you do see any schema in here, which would have specific column names, so it would have been column names for that customer table in my example, I think I've already reset this here, so that's why it's gone. Go ahead and make sure you delete the schema here, right? When you're doing a just single table to table, mappings are great. They can make things quicker, but we're not just doing one table. We're iterating through various options. So we need to make sure nothing static remains here. Hence, we can go through the process and there's a button you click and you delete everything. So that is our source and our mappings. The last thing we have to do is for the destination. Same thing. We need to make sure that the table name that we're writing, which is going to be new every time, is matching what we have from the source. Or you could take some liberties here, but that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to simply remove this hard-coded value, once again going to my dynamic content, and simply once again hitting our pipeline expression builder for the parameter, right? So now we parameterize 2 sections and kind of remove, if you needed to, the elements around mapping. So this pipeline is ready to go. It's now a more dynamic pipeline. It doesn't work on its own. I mean, technically it would, right? If you ran this, you would just have to type in the name of a valid table that has a schema of DBO, and this would run against that Azure SQL database. Which, just in case if you are looking to follow along, you'll find the credentials, basically the information to use this Azure SQL database, in the description of this video. So let's go ahead and now create the parent. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the child example here, saved it. I'm going to hit new, and we're just going to create a data pipeline. I'll call this my parent pipeline. All right. And we're going to start with, in this case, because I'm using an Azure SQL database, we're going to go ahead and use an actual lookup activity, right? If you were using something like an Azure Data Lake storage or something of that nature, you could of course switch over and use like a get metadata activity. The point is we need something that allows us to bring back a list of the items that we're interested in. For us, it will be a lookup. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that option in question, and then I just need to configure this itself. So as I mentioned, I do already have this in my list of settings, right? If I look up, for me, it's labeled as my PW Azure SQL database, but don't forget in the description, you can find this information. But when I connect here and choose the corresponding database type, it's connected in here. It's asking me, do you want to point to a table or do you want to write a query? And I'm going to hit the query option. Also, inside the connection settings, you'll find I have provided this. If you want to modify and alter this, absolutely you can. But I'm going to use this query just here. And we need to make sure that we deselect first row only, because the idea is we're bringing back a list of values. So it's always good, preview the data, check it out. This query here should return us 4 tables. This is SQL. At this point, you could do whatever logic you need to, get whatever list. We're querying the system table here, the schema sys.tables, and there's a lot of different columns. There's a schema column, there's a name column. So you can bring this back. I only need the names, and that works for this example, but there's a lot of potential here that you can customize. So this is the return. And don't forget, something great for debugging is once you've started the process, go ahead and just run it so you can actually view the output of the pipeline itself. So what we should see is an array of, in this case, 4 values, each with the names corresponding. This is how you can make sure you're leveraging the outputs correctly. Because in a moment, we're about to go ahead and point to this array and iterate over the entire list. So it's there, it's ran, it's successful, and as I mentioned, the output shows us what we're looking for. 4 items, dim customer, dim date, dim product, factor internet sales. Perfect. I've got a list of 4 things. Now, even though I was very specific with my intentions of what I wanted, once again, any SQL's on the table here, use logic. You can point to like some sort of control table. This really just shows you the kind of doorway, but what it opens up into is so many options. And then after this, you could leverage whatever other activities you want. Maybe you bring back a larger list, but you use something like a filter activity to refine that array down to whatever you're looking for. We go over this in some of our YouTube videos, but as well some of our on-demand learning training. For now, I'm going to take these 4, passes as a list to the child. We're going to see how all this comes together. So I need to go ahead and in my list of activities, grab my for each. We'll connect this. I'm going to go ahead and use the success connector. So when it's successful, move over and go to this area. And a for each, if you're unfamiliar with it, basically goes and is looking for an object data type. It's looking for an array of data, which we so have. That is the output of a lookup, right? If you don't use the first row option, we removed it. So I'm going to go ahead and in the items area, simply choose add dynamic contents. We're going to get some nice options. You can see they've done some great updates here, and we can see in the list, it says lookup 1, the name of my lookup, and it says the value. Specifically, we want the array. This will be dot value at the end. So with a single click, we've got exactly what we're looking for, and this gives us an object that we will be iterating over 4 items. So this is going to kick off the child pipeline 4 times. But not just yet, right? Because we need to say, run this pipeline. So with inside the for each loop, I'm simply going to add an activity, just one, and it's going to be my pipeline. Now this one might be a little bit different depending on what time you're viewing this video. You can see on my screen, I have 2 invoke pipelines. We have this invoke pipeline legacy, which at the moment, if you're looking to run a pipeline within Fabric, you have to use that option. But very exciting, the invoke pipeline preview option at the moment allows you to execute pipelines in Synapse Analytics, as well as in Azure Data Factory, which is really awesome. So obviously the idea is eventually there's going to be one, and it'll let us kick off pipelines on all 3 platforms. For now, I'm going to need to use the invoke pipeline so I can point to the item in question here. So I've highlighted that new activity, which is inside the for each. And under the settings, I'm simply going to point to our child pipeline. And because there is a parameter specified there, it is presented to me here, and I have to simply determine, okay, what am I going to pass through to this pipeline that will be inherited by the child pipeline. So I just simply click in. Once again, we're going to go with that add dynamic content. We're simply going to use the for each. So take the items coming from the parent for each, and I need to go in, and this is when you know about knowing the outputs, simply going to put .name. This is actually the name of the item inside the array. Like I said, it gets a little crazy, but if you need some of those basics, make sure you check out some of that other content. But this is going to get us exactly what we're looking for. We can go ahead and hit OK, and this is ready to go. So all I need to do is I'm going to save this. Let's make sure though, right? Let's run this through and validate that our child pipeline is now going to run 4 times, and hopefully 4 times successfully. So let's give it a moment to execute. All right, there we go. And as you can see, really quick, a little over 30 seconds, it's gone through, it's ran my child pipeline 4 times, says it's successful. Only way to really verify this, right, is go and check out the Lakehouse, which should have now 4 tables that my one pipeline was able to create for me. So let's go ahead. I'm going to leave my parent pipeline. I'm going to check on my Lakehouse. We're going to simply refresh this real quick because that can, it's a browser-based experience, so sometimes you need to do it. Unidentified, this occurs if you've been working with the tool. These are some of the topics we expose when we go into our on-demand learning and Fabric boot camps. All I need to do is hit right here. Let me refresh this. Just like that. There's our tables, and you can click on Explore it. We are good to go. We have gone now and ran through an example of a parent-child design, which once again, you can open this up to using various different sources. You can inject any other activities you want in there. But this is how you can start making this realm far more dynamic. At the end of the day, we love hearing that word dynamic because we as developers then don't have to create as many pipelines. We can make those pipelines work harder for us, right? So now that we've seen this design, what type of patterns are you using with your daily ETL jobs, right? Whether it be pipelines, data flows, notebooks, is there something either from a dynamic or a static perspective that you've kind of found, something that's interesting, or maybe you have an issue with something that you're trying to conquer and this maybe didn't directly address that item? We'd love to hear from you inside the comments because these can provide some great items that we can either respond to, possibly even you might see it in a future YouTube video. And don't forget as well, we have our Fabric bootcamps, Power BI bootcamps of all types. Lessons like these, design patterns like these, we cover. Our Fabric bootcamp is 4 days of intensive training. You get to see all the in and outs. We stay up to date with the current releases. So make sure you check out our website and get signed up for the next bootcamp that lines up with your calendar. I'd love to see you there. And as always, I hope you enjoyed.